Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a system design on a thumbnail feature that I want to build on my website. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to design that feature, system design style, and then I'll also go ahead and implement it and then maybe show you the code after if it's interesting to you. Yeah, so I'm actually at the airport right now. Let's see. Shit. There. But yeah, around the D gates. But showed some random people. Hopefully I don't get fined. Um, yeah, so what is this thumbnail? Let's just get the functional requirements for this thumbnail feature. So what I'm gonna do is I want to do a lot of my work on my website. So I want to build out all the functionality. So I already created some role-based access control, and I'm going to be doing a video on how I did role-based access control. But now there's 3 different roles in my system. There's admin, which is pretty much only me. Then there's editors, so I can assign people the editor role, and they'll be able to access this thumbnail page. And then there's just regular users. Editors are people who have the editor roles will be able to do editing functions for me when I begin to outsource some of my editing. So that includes creating thumbnails for me. So if you see what I have here is, what I'm gonna have is, this is just the front end, but I'm gonna have a bunch of, so I'll be able to create jobs, as in I'll create jobs for people to create a thumbnail for me, and then it'll show up in this to-do. Once they click on one of these in the to-do, it'll open something like this where it'll show them the video that they need to create a thumbnail for. They'll be able to create a thumbnail using something like Canva and upload it here. And then they're gonna add notes and timestamps here, which I'm gonna use as timestamps for my video to create the different chapters. And then yeah, when they submit the thumbnail, it should move into review, and then I'll have the final sign off, and then there will be all the completed thumbnails here. And you can see the CSS here is a little bit weird. I need to fix that. But yeah, I pretty much already have the front end section, but this is only UI. I need to actually hook it up with the back end. So I need to figure that out. So let's figure out my functional requirements. And yeah, my flight's in about 28 minutes, so we're gonna be really fast with this. So thumbnail editor, system design. So what are the functional requirements? The functional requirements are, well, first off, I need to be able to create thumbnail jobs. What exactly, let's define this. What is a thumbnail job? A thumbnail job means create a thumbnail and timestamps for a video I have listed as private. So yeah, I would already have uploaded the video. It's going to be in private, but yeah, the editor will have access to the private video, and they'll be able to create a thumbnail and the timestamp based on the video. They'll watch the video, but pretty much yeah, that's a thumbnail job. I need to be able to create thumbnail jobs with me. Let's use this. Admins need to be able to create thumbnail jobs. Admins need to be able to do in review and grab some water and wait, let me look at the UI. And completed. I still haven't decided yet, but editors should have a subset of these. So admins need to be able to create thumbnail jobs. Admins need to be able to view. I think admins should just be able to do let's just say editors need to be able to create, editors need to be able to do, to view, and we might limit the editor, what the editor can do, and just have admin have super user be a super user and be able to do everything. And editor, we might limit the functionality, and make it a subset of this. But let's just think about the editor for now. Editors need to be able to create thumbnail jobs. Editors need to be able to view, to do, and review completed jobs. Editors have, yeah. So they need to be able to view. They need to be able to, so they need to be able to create. Editors need to be able to upload a thumbnail. Users need to be able to upload a thumbnail, and actually admins only need to be able to create a thumbnail job. Editors need to be able to view, to do, and review. Let's just say admin and editors. Admin editors need to be able to view, to do, and review and complete it. Editors need to be able to upload a thumbnail. Editors need to be upload a thumbnail and timestamps. Okay, now let me think about it. Admins create the job, will create jobs. Admins need to be able to view it. And then editors need to be able to upload the thumbnail. Yeah. I think that's good enough for now. Let's just move on. So what is the non-functional requirements? Well, there's going to be really only 2 or 3 people using this. So I think for sure we want low latency, but with such a small user base, I don't think we will need to worry about that. Low latency, we probably don't need to worry about low latency. I mean, we definitely want it to be available. I mean, such a small system. Like, I already know what database we're going to be using, so we're just going to be using one database. So we're definitely going to be using, basically just going to be consistency because we're using a small Postgres database. What else? Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about the non-functional requirements, honestly, because it's just such a small website. But we can think about that later. Let's just make sure that when we upload stuff, it's durable and we don't lose it. We don't lose thumbnail. Okay. So now that we have the thumbnail jobs, let's just talk a little bit about the database. So, well, we're gonna have our users database because that's how we're gonna know who's the admins, who's the editors, etc. I already set that up. But what we're gonna do is we're also gonna have thumbnail jobs. We're gonna have a table called thumbnail jobs. And yeah, what is the thumbnail jobs going to have? Well, let's just say we have the thumbnail jobs for now, and then we'll build out the APIs, and then we can fill out more of the columns of that table afterwards. So what are the different APIs? So in order to create the different APIs, usually I just go through my functional requirements and just make sure I can hit all the functional requirements with my APIs. So admins need to be able to create thumbnail jobs. So what is that going to look like? Probably we're going to have a post, and then we're going to have thumbnail job, and what are we going to have in that thumbnail job? Yeah, I think we just do a post. Definitely we're going to have an auth. And I already know we're going to be doing like an encrypted JWT because that's what Nextauth use. But we're going to have the auth token, which is a JWE. And we're going to have, what else do we need? When we create a thumbnail job, we said, so I already have the video up, so we're gonna be passing a video URL string. This is the vid they'll make the thumbnail for. They'll make the thumbnail for. Just grab some water. 1 second. Let's continue. So we're gonna post thumbnail jobs. We have the JWE. This will be our authentication to identify. We'll have a video URL. We'll also be able to, I think that's all we need, because at first when we create the thumbnail job, all we need to do is pass in the video URL. Then they will fill out, well, the status is gonna be set to do when we first create. And yeah, I think that's literally all we need to like post that. Because right here, yeah, they'll upload the thumbnail and everything. This is the thumbnail job. This returns maybe like returns a thumbnail job ID, like a JSON. Let's not worry about the return yet. But pretend now we need to be able to get the thumbnail jobs in order to get the view. So again, we'll do auth JWE, and then right now we could have some pagination. So let's say description. This creates a thumbnail job. And then description here. Someone has their thing blasted. Hopefully it's not too loud for y'all. So we create a thumbnail job. You can get the thumbnail jobs. Just gets all thumbnail jobs. Will have pagination at some point, but this is just proof of concept. Of course, we have the auth, the JWT, or the JWE. I think when we grab the thumbnail jobs, it's just gonna return like returns like it's gonna return like a list of thumbnail jobs. Right. The thumbnail jobs. Okay, let's look at what the thumbnail job is gonna have. It's gonna have ID. ID is gonna be the primary key here, and it's gonna be like a UUID, probably just like ID, like an int or a string. I just use the default, so I actually don't know. Video URL, because that's posted in this. That's gonna be a string. Then we said that they're gonna have a status, which is probably gonna be to do, in review, or completed. And then somebody's gonna be able to put the thumbnail, which is just gonna be a string, which is gonna be a URL to the thumbnail in blob storage. We're gonna use a blob storage to store the thumbnails and not store it in the database. Then we're gonna have the description, or what do we call it here? Yeah, notes and time, like notes. Let's just say general notes. So yeah, these are gonna be pretty much these are gonna be nullable. because these are going to be nullable at first because they haven't inputted it yet. But yeah, yeah, but the thumbnail nodes. There. So I think that's the thumbnail job. So when we just call thumbnail jobs, we'll just return all those, and in the front end we could just sort them or handle all that in the front end of putting the ones into here, putting the ones into here, the other ones completed there. So that gives us the list, and now when we have the list, pretty much when they click into this, they should be looking at a very specific thumbnail job. You can see that that's there in the URL. So when they post, we'll just like put the thumbnail job ID, which is going to be the ID of this one. So they're going to pass in. So what this is going to do is this is going to be upload. This is going to be like when they click submit here, and maybe what instead of a post it could be like a patch. What? Replaces all current, delete, patch, applies partial modification, replace all. Okay, it's probably going to be a patch. So we're going to be patching the thumbnail job, and then we're going to be passing in the post here. This is going to be in the headers, but this is going to be in the body. What we're going to do is we're going to patch. There's going to be updates to the thumbnail and description So when we patch here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a thumbnail. Come back here. I'm yelling at the kid. Thumbnail is gonna be a string because we would have already had the string that we're gonna upload. Yeah, we have the thumbnail and say in the notes. So when they patch that, they're gonna pass it to the thumbnail ID in the back end. We'll literally just edit that. Yeah, and then probably return the thumbnail job. Return the thumbnail job. What is this? When you post the thumbnail job, probably return a thumbnail job. Return a list. So this, once you patch it, it returns the thumbnail job so we can update the UI. So I think that hits all of the functional requirements. Now let's quickly talk about our system. High level design. So sort of we have a client. This is gonna be pretend we have different admins. We have an admin, and then we also have an editor. And then they're pretty much going to be talking directly to my server. They're talking to like a Next or a Vercel server. So there's like an API gateway. There's probably some way in order to hit our server, but I honestly didn't even look into that. So let's just assume that they're talking to our backend REST API. Server here is our application server. So let's just admin. Just say this is our admin. This is our editor. This is our app server. And the app server is gonna have all of our endpoints here. Right. So pretend so what the app server is going to do is it's also going to, when you pass in the authentication, it's going to authenticate you and pretty much post only for, this should only be for admins. So it's going to basically look at your auth and look at the auth to determine if you're an admin or not. This is for, yeah, so only admins on my website are going to be able to create the thumbnail jobs. So yeah, when they click into the server, what we're gonna do is we're just creating the video URL, and yeah, so we're gonna have a Postgres database. So we're gonna have a Postgres DB. We're gonna have a Postgres DB of this exact posting this. When they make the post request, first we're gonna verify that they're an admin. If they're an admin, what we're gonna do is we're gonna parse out the video parse out the video URL, and then we're gonna set the status to do, and then we're gonna do an insert into a database. Right? Once it inserts to the database, once that's successful, we return that back to the admin. So that's how we create it, and then we create an entry in our database. Then we're gonna have a separate blob storage. We're gonna have a separate blob storage. It's gonna be similar to S3. I think it does even use S3 under the hood. But let's say what we're gonna do. Let's just say we have S3, which is our blob storage. What they're gonna actually do is, in my front end, I already have a way to drop your thumbnail here. But what it's gonna do is gonna connect directly to S3 and upload it to S3, and then S3 will just return back the URL. So URL. Okay. Which is gonna be a string. So they're gonna upload to S3, which is the URL of the thumbnail. And then from there, the notes, they just type the notes in here. It's just plain text. But pretty much after they have the URL and the notes, what they're gonna do is they're gonna make a post request here. We're gonna authenticate the post request to just make sure they're at least an editor or admin. If they're not, we're gonna reject the request, send them a 401, not authenticated. But what we're gonna do is, since when they do this patch, they're gonna pass in the thumbnail ID. In the app server, we're gonna figure out the thumbnail job ID from the path parameter. We're gonna have the thumbnail in the notes. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna insert into our database and then fill out the thumbnail and the notes there for the specific ID. Since we have ID, we can easily insert by that. And yeah, probably put the status to in review as well. So now that's updated and that's in the system. When that's gonna return back to the user as well, the thumbnail, and they'll edit the UI. And I think it's simple as that. Every time admin or editor loads in, they just call this get thumbnail jobs, which is, we'll have pagination at some point, but we'll just literally do a full table scan at first and just send that back to the admin. And on the front end, we can like group them up based on the status. And then we could show what, depending on what we have on the table here, we can preview it. But yeah, that's a quick system design on my thumbnail editor. I think that actually handles a lot of what I need to do. I just need to spin up a database and a blob storage, and yeah, I think Vercel already has all that, so it shouldn't be that hard to do. I guess once I implement that, I'll show everyone. But yeah, thanks for tuning into the video. I'll see you again on the next one.